Back now to our main story though. Researchers who've analysed a year's worth of prescriptions handed out by GPs in England have found that there were errors for about 1 in 6 patients.
The mistakes ranged from incorrect information about doses to failures to monitor the effects of the drugs on patients.
Well, the research carried out by the General Medical Councils led to calls for GPs to have dedicated pharmacists in their practices. With us now is Brian Hope, who's a GP himself. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, are you surprised to find there are so many mistakes?
Probably not surprised, because it's a very complicated system. You might not think that when you visit your GP and sit there and he writes a piece of paper out and gives it to you, but when you look at this analysis, it's mainly children that sometimes the dosage might be quite not correct for their weight, and it's also older people who tend to be on a lot more medication, so it's looking at interactions or potential interactions, and sometimes it's the way the computer's been used.
I mean, the trouble is, if you get a dosage wrong, it's particularly if you're dealing with a child.
Absolutely.
You could get it very, very seriously wrong, can't you?
You can do, but in looking at the analysis, there were very few serious errors. There might be a discrepancy in exactly the right dosage. And remember as well, we do have, as you said, pharmacists. We prescribe, they dispense, and there often will be times when they will phone up and say, are you sure about that dosage for this particular person?
Would it help to have a dedicated pharmacist inside the GP surgery?
I think we've had that in our practice, and we work very closely with a practice that's on site, and that's hugely beneficial, because it's a little bit like in Tesco's. You know, you do your shopping, then you go to the checkout. It's good to have those two processes very close together, and that's the same with prescribing. I prescribe, they dispense, and having two people or two systems checking can be a very, very effective way of...
Because they know the patients, more likely to know the patients? Because, I mean, that's what the pharmacist in the high street is doing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because their job is to check that prescription before it's given out. So if I do make an error of putting slightly the wrong dosage, they will look at they'll check that before it's going out. So it's another check in the system that is very reassuring. They also are, I think, better at looking at interactions of drugs, looking at the whole range of medications, about the timing of medications, and that's what some of these errors were about. Actually understanding when it's the best time to take them, and talking to patients and saying, actually, the reality of their lives, when is it right for you to take those tablets?
I mean, I suppose a lot of this is down to simple human error, isn't it? I've received, on 2 occasions, I've received from my child the wrong either product or the wrong dosage. And one of the things that occurs to me is that when a GP is writing it out, especially for children, they look up in a book what is the right dosage. Now, if you had a computer system where you put in the age of the child and its weight, a system could work that out for you, and could you minimise errors that way?
And I think that's what this research is saying, that actually GPs are often given a computer system, but what we don't do is actually have the training behind that and the backup behind it to say this is the best use of that system. And there probably are systems on my own computer system that I'm not aware of. I'm a generation that is not the best with computer systems, and therefore I think what we do is give a lot of hardware but don't give the backup to the software and the training, which I think would be hugely beneficial.
Okay. Brian, thanks very much. I know you're coming back
I'm
later.
coming back later,
All right.
Bit later on, Thanks very much for now. 6:42. Let us know your views on that, and if indeed you have received prescriptions that you thought were wrong or dangerous.
This is Breakfast.